What's going on, everybody? You get the Raging Rob here. I'm going to do something a little different on YouTube, something I haven't done in a while. Back in the day, I used to have these different series. I had Stupid People, which I had in like 2011, 2012. I had Drama. I've had other shit. So I'm going to start a new series. How about that? I'm going to call this High School Stories. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video randomly here and there. I'm going to tell stories of what things that happened when I was in high school. You'll love some of the stories I got, man, up my sleeve. Eventually, I think I'll make a series called Trucker Stories. But anyway, I'm talking between the age of 14, 19, not just me in high school, but things that happened when I was doing jobs, certain places I worked at, trouble I got into, basically things that I've done in my teenage years. And I'm going to share these stories with you on YouTube. And I'm going to leave the comment section open as usual. So, let's get started. I'm going to call this High School Stories Episode 1. Basically, I'm going on about a certain bully. Not a bully that I had. I didn't really get bullied in school, but a bully that I had a altercation with. So yeah, let's get to it. First off, I'm going to tell you what kind of person I was in high school. I didn't get picked on in high school. I mean, I've had a few fights and altercations. I got into some trouble when I was a teenager. I was a pretty, I'm not going to say bad teenager, but I didn't hang with the rough crowd, but I've had, how do I say this? I did my stupid teenager stuff. Had a few run-ins with the law. Never been arrested or charged with anything, but I've had a few badass moments, suspensions, detentions. I did get picked on a bit in elementary school and like the first year of middle school. By like halfway through middle school, I just started standing up for myself, started getting into fights, started kicking asses, and eventually people left me alone. So, and after then when I got into high school, I just, nobody bothered me. I didn't bother anybody. I was the kind of guy, I didn't bother anybody. If you didn't bother me, I wouldn't bother you. That's the kind of guy I was. Okay, so you had these different cliques in high school. I don't know, some of you nerds that are watching this are probably in your teenage years, so you probably I don't know how it is now, but when I was in high school, between 97 and 2002, we had these different cliques. You had these gothics, okay? Basically, they were like the freaks that black lipstick and eyeliner and wearing black and all that other shit. They used to wear the trench coats up until 1999. After Columbine, they told them, the school I went to said, hey, you guys, no more trench coats. If you don't know, if you weren't alive around Columbine, 1999, you probably don't know what it is. Some of you that are watching were probably just a toddler or baby when it went down. I was 16 years old when Columbine happened. I watched it live on TV in my language arts class. I think it was like 5th hour, I think. I don't know. During my sophomore year. Yeah, I watched it live on TV as it went down. It was horrifying. Basically, what it was, some couple of nerds, they had some clique called the Trench Coat Mafia, and they wore trench coats to school, and they shot up the school, killed 15 people, a couple of teachers, 13 students, committed suicide. It was like one of the worst high school shootings in this country. But anyway, after that, it was in 1999. After that, my school, a lot of schools nationwide, they went to took extra security precautions, and my school said, hey, no more trench coats. So the gothic clique in my school couldn't wear the trench coats anymore. So we had these other cliques. We had the thug, gangster, the wannabes, You know, they dressed up like gangsters and, you know, with the chains around their neck and the baggy pants and they, you know, whatever. The thug gangster cliques. I wore baggy pants. I had like cross neck chains because I was a Christian. So I kind of dressed like a gangster, but not really. I mean, I didn't really get too into it. And then you had the nerds. You know who the nerds are. You had the skaters with the skateboarders. And you had the jocks, the cheerleaders. I actually slept with one of the cheerleaders, but I'll talk about that in another high school series video. Or high school stories, I'm going to call it. So this is High School Stories episode 1. Basically, I got along with all the groups, basically. I didn't really, you know, anybody that didn't associate with a group just call themselves outcasts. They just didn't want any part of it. Then that's kind of how I was. I didn't really, how do I say this? I mean, I got along with, I had friends that are nerds. I had a couple of friends that are jocks. I had a few friends that are, you know, skaters and this and that and thugs and gangsters. I pretty much got along with everybody. At lunchtime, I pretty much sat with whoever. At one lunchtime, I would sit with the nerds. Another lunchtime, I would sit with a couple of my thug friends. On Wednesday, I might sit with a couple of my jock friends, with the cheerleaders, whatever. I just kind of got along with everybody. I was pretty popular in high school. I wasn't prom king or anything like that, but I was pretty popular. Everybody knew who I was. I wasn't like the shit, but you know, people left me alone, whatever. So anyway, there was this bully. He hanged out in a thug group. And this guy walked around like his shit didn't stink. I mean, back in the day, you know, these nerds, I'm not going to, well, he was a thug, but I'm saying he just walked around like that in the hallway. And I mean, that's stupid. When I seen somebody walk like that in the hallway, I just looked at that. I look at that like, you have got to be a big jackass to walk around like that. I mean, it's just stupid. Hey, look at me. I'm cool. I'm going to walk around like that. No, you look like a fucking asshole, okay? Stop walking like a damn asshole and walk normal, okay? I didn't walk around like that. It's stupid. Ladies don't like that. So anyway, that's what he did. He stole money from the lunch money from the nerds. I mean, he was just a bully. I mean, this guy was a little bit bigger than me. I mean, probably a few inches taller, a little bit more muscles. I was average, but nobody really messed with me too much. So anyway, this guy, he was just a fucking bully. He just bullied people. And so anyway, math class. I'm trying to think what hour I had it. I think third. I can't even remember the fucking names of the teachers. It's so long ago. I think I had it third hour. Anyway, the math class I was in, you had like math 9 for the freshmen, you had math 10 for the sophomores, and you had then you had the one class that I was in was like mixed with freshmen and sophomore. I was a sophomore at this time, so I had freshmen and sophomores. It was a special kind of math class. It wasn't algebra, it was something else. I can't remember what the hell it was. Not calculus, something else. But anyway, it was freshmen and sophomores in this class. Anyway, so I was a sophomore, and there was sophomores and freshmen in this math class. And this bully, he was just a punk. He sat behind me, assigned seating. He sat behind me in math class. And I'm not going to say any names on YouTube during these high school story videos that I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to say any names. I might use first names, but no last names. So anyway, this guy sat behind me, and I wore a cross neck chain. I was a Christian, and I felt something behind me. I didn't make out what it was at first. I felt something, you know, the part where you hook up the neck chain. It was right behind me. So anyway, I felt something like a little whatever behind my neck. I'm like, what the hell is that? I look behind me, and this guy behind me is doing like this. He's trying to take off my neck chain. So I unhooked it real fast and put it in my pocket. And I'm like, dude, really? You trying to take my neck chain from me? Fucking asshole. So he goes like this to the back of my neck. I'm like, I turned around, I'm like, do you have a problem? He just ignored me. So class was over, blah, 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 blah. Next day comes around. He tried to do it again, tried to steal my neck chain. This time, I was getting pissed. I took it off and put it back in my pocket. I'm not going to be punked around by this guy. If I want to wear my fucking chain, I'm going to do it. So basically, I turned around at him and he wanted, go. So I stood up in front of class and I flipped his desk over. You got these chairs, these desks, the chairs connected to the desk. So I stood up and I flipped this damn desk over, knocked him out of the chair, disrupted class, and the math teacher told me, Rob, go to the office. I'm like, what the hell's the problem? We're ready to go. I was ready to go. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna take that shit from him. I don't know what the hell his problem was. And he was ready to go too. As soon as he got out of his chair after I knocked him over, his desk over, he got right back up and he was ready to go. I'm ready to go, man. Right in front of class. So, down to the principal's office, and this guy had a history of detentions and suspensions and in-school suspensions and whatever. So I talked to the principal. I told him what happened. I'm like, dude, I wasn't bothering anybody. This guy bothered me. And obviously the principal knew about this guy. And he's like, yeah, I know about this guy. He's got a lot of history. He's a troublemaker. I'll tell you what, Rob. You can't do that in class. But I'll let you off despite the situation because of who this guy is. I'll let you off with the warning. But go back to class. I'll just let this slide. I'll give you a warning this time. But next time, don't be trying to start any fights. Because I could suspend you. So, I went back to class. I guess he got sent to the office too. Yeah, he got sent to the office too and gave his bullshit side of the story. So the next day, teacher gives me a new seat on the other side of the classroom. He gets to stay in his seat. So it looked like I was the instigator when that's not what happened. But anyway, I got a new seat behind a nerd. Not that it matters. So anyway, this guy was a fucking pussy. And I'm gonna explain to you how and why. So lunchtime comes around. I think it was the same day I got the new seating. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it was that week, one of those days that lunchtime came around, and a couple of his punk buddies come up to me during lunch class, and they say his name. I'm like, and I looked at him, I'm like, okay, what about him? Well, I heard he tried to jack your shit. I'm like, yeah, he tried to jack my shit, but he didn't, because I stood up to him. And they just kept mouthing off me. He wasn't anywhere to be seen, but there was a couple of buddies of him, just trying to start shit, trying to mouth me off. Blah, 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 blah. I stood up to him like, what? Let's go. I stood up to him, and they're just, and they pulled that, whatever. Talk to the hand, whatever. After I stood up to him, like, I'm not gonna fuck around with you guys. Here's the kicker. This guy was a fucking sophomore. He sends a couple of freshmen at me, okay? A couple of his punk buddy freshmen at me, who's like a year and a half younger than me. I'm like, doing what? I just, back off. This guy, after I stood up to this fucking fucker, okay? This is how much of a fucking bitch he is. Okay, I stood up to this guy. Because I stood up to him, he cannot stand up to me after school like a man. He's got to send a couple of his punk freshman buddies after me to fight his own dirty work. That's how much of a pussy he was. And this guy's fucking bigger than me. Chicken shit motherfucker. That's what he was. So after that, I haven't had another problem with him. He just left me alone, and the school year went on. And that was that. So, that's it. I got into a couple fights, but I'll talk about those in other videos. So, anyway, my next high school, what am I going to call this? I'm going to call it High School Stories. It's a new series I got going. So anyway, in my next episode, I'll talk about how a girl wanted to fight me. Now, let me say this. I did not, never in my life have I ever abused a woman. I never put my hands on a woman. I never smacked around a woman. I am highly against any man that puts their hands on a woman. If you are a man and you smack around your girlfriend, beat up a woman, then you are not a fucking man. You're a little bitch. That's the way it is. You know, I respect women. My mommy and daddy taught me to respect women. My daddy never, ever, ever smacked my mom around. You know, that's the way it is. My family, we do not tolerate that shit. So in my next video, I will talk about how this girl wanted to fight me in high school and what happened. So I'll save it for next time. But anyway, new series. I'll see where it goes. Maybe it'll go somewhere. Maybe it won't. So it's just something I want to try out new on YouTube. You know, YouTube is about, you know, expressing yourself and trying out new things. So I'm going to try this little series going called High School Stories. Basically, I'm going to make a video and talk about things that I did in high school and see what kind of comments I get and basically go from there. So High School Stories, Episode 1, The Bully. This is Raging Rob. Cooking, huh?